Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of Day 4 with the man Frank SCALISH. Day 4, number 219. I looked back, I think it's 219. I thought today was 220, but I couldn't find 220, which means it must be 219. So we'll go with 219 unless for some reason I find 220 that wasn't out there and then it's 220, but for now it's 219. What's up, Frank?
How are you, man? It's getting down to the wire, Matt.
Dude, I am all over the place right now. Didn't do a show yesterday because I had to run by. So Brad Hallman, blast from the past right there. I've actually tailgated with him a couple weeks ago. He's doing fantastic. He made the best brisket I have ever had in my entire life at the Auburn game.
Nice.
Which was just back when we had hope.
I can't even go down the road.
We were talking live before about the Browns, and we've laid out their next 10 years. It's kind of like me in the opens, just a glimmer of hope and then just a lot of despair.
Yeah, I can't even.
But his brother-in-law has a jewelry shop in OKC, so I had to slide by. I'd ordered it like 4 months ago, and it came in, and then I realized like the wedding is in a week.
Yeah,
basically.
It's close.
And I realized I had never picked up the wedding band. Yeah, so it had been there for over 2 months. Like I got it actually on my birthday on August 18th. He texted me, "Hey, the wedding band is in," and I was like, "Sweet, I'll be by to pick it up."
And you never.
And then I was chatting with Court, and I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I need to go get that."
Yeah, that's kind of an important part.
So we did that. Then we got just all sorts of odds. I say this in the best comparison way possible, but it is shockingly similar to preparing for like a big tournament.
Oh yeah.
The front end of it, because you've got the wedding coming up, but there's all sorts of these things that you need to get done, and they're all going to help you in that tournament. It just happens to be, the most important day of your life, your wedding day, and not a big tournament. But as far as the checklist and the level of importance and things and how you have to plan ahead and have the baits and get your engine oil changed and your all that, very similar to preparing for like an open.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, that you just reminded me. I got to get my oil changed before I drive down there.
Yeah. Like, how long did you spend, like, when you fished in the Classic, like your terminal tackle, your equipment, the boat, the truck, the wrap, all that? Like, that's a months-long process to get ready for that one morning of the first day of blast off. It's not like it's just like, hey, this is it. I'm going to show up and start casting for cash.
No, the weird thing was the first Classic that I fished, we had limitations on what you could bring and stuff like that. And that made it brutal because you have to plan for every scenario. The problem is your pre-tournament practice days. The first time you could get to the lake was way before the event, which was ludicrous because nothing was going to be the same. Mm-hmm. And so it was so hard for me because I run tackle heavy in my boat anyway. And it was so hard for me to gear down and go, well, I need a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And then you got, to weigh your shit. It's 20 pounds. You're good to go. And it's like, you're always going to forget something. It's just the way it goes. And so after that Classic, believe it or not, I kind of pitched a fit about not being able to run our own boats, because the first one, the boat that I got wouldn't run right. It only ran 55 miles an hour. It wasn't set up properly. And I had fish from dam to dam and I was running the current. And in my boat, I could do it 4 or 5 times in a day. In the Classic boat, I can only do it once. And so I wound up picking the midsection of the lake, figuring I can get the best of both worlds. And that failed like miserably.
You were in it though.
Yeah, I was in it.
You're in it.
Yeah.
Real quick there, I see the update on the St. Jude Fishing Chaos Tournament. So that is still going on. I know it's supposed to launch on the 15th. We're hoping for a soft launch tomorrow on it. We're working on the back end of the links. So when you sign up for that tournament, it goes directly to the St. Jude donation page, so you can see and
Gotcha.
we can see exactly how much it is. So everything is dialed in. The monthly prizes, the overall prizes, the organization of it all, everything is ready to roll. And as soon as we roll out, so nobody is missing anything on that. I connected Fishing Chaos with the people at St. Jude so that it goes directly to it. So there's no middleman for that. So as soon as that'll be on the Fishing Chaos, I'll have all sorts of updates. We'll have Tom Brubaker for Fishing Chaos back on to talk about that. He actually just had a baby girl 2 weeks ago.
Good for them, man.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff happening in life. That's the update on that. Also, the clothing update before we get into today's show, which is a deep dive.
Oh, it's a deep dive.
It is a actual deep dive into water temperature, turnover, fishing during this kind of time of the year right now, where you've got the cool mornings, the warm afternoons, the fish are in a little bit of flux, a little bit of a refresher. You're actually going to dive into some scientific stuff, some studies, some research that's been done. So looking forward to that. But I do see you have your structural element shirt on. Happy with the latest of the BTL Frank SCALISH merch drop, Frank?
Love them. The sweatshirts, money. Your golf shirts are money, dude. Like, I got some of the BTL golf shirts, and I am so happy I did.
Nice.
Because I like the way the golf shirts wick, and I don't like heavy shirts to wear in when you go somewhere and you got to dress nice. I don't want heavy shirts. Like at the Hall of Fame, dude, I was so overheated at the
But you looked good.
Yeah, well, this is the price you pay.
but you looked good. Yeah, I know that I'm getting up there in age too when I could appreciate a crisp polo shirt. Like, that was never a thing in my 20s, but as I've gotten older, I look at my wardrobe and I'm like, boy, it'd be nice to have a classy logoed collared polo shirt for this lunch
100%.
lunch meeting, or even now a lot of stuff's over the web. But
100%. But the other thing about it is the collar's rigid and holds its shape.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, because I can't stand when you have an expensive golf shirt and the collar just
floppy collar, crisp collar, and then the other sure sign that you're getting older is you will go out of your way on a day of fishing. Like, you will lose time on the water to make sure that you have ice in your cooler.
Yes. Well, here I have
15 years. Screw that. I didn't care about it. If it required me a quarter mile out of the way, we're having warm iced tea all day. But now I'm like, okay, we're waiting till this gas station opens to have cold beverages all day.
Okay, so I have a tip on this. I've been doing it for a decade, more than a decade. This is my tip, okay? So I will freeze 8 to 10 waters, freeze them. And then I put those in the bottom of my cooler. And then I put some unfrozen ones on top of that. And you'll be surprised. It will last all day. I don't care how hot it is. It lasts all day. And it keeps everything cold. And it's money, because you don't have to run to the gas station and get ice, and then you know how the water drips through and everything. It's in the plastic bottles. And if it's like 90 to 100 degrees out, I just take one of the frozen ones out and throw it on my deck.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's money. It's almost as good as the trick of freezing the koozies for keep your beer cold.
Yeah.
I get
coming in hot this morning. He said crisp polo sounds like the name of an Auburn fraternity president. Hey guys, I'm Chris Polo. Welcome to initiation. That is a great name.
And I'm Leopold Izod, vice president. And here comes Tommy Hilfiger. He's our treasurer.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's good stuff.
That's funny.
No. And then the one more item of business, and then we're going to dive into this, and then we're also going to bring in a special guest at the end of the show, who may or may not be related to you, who has a big derb coming up, right?
Yes. We'll pull him in at the end. I do have to make an announcement, because the new signature series dropped this month, and we're going to have one every month until July.
Yeah.
The first drop was the Fat Boy and pumpkin spice.
Yep, there it is right now. There's still a couple of those left.
Yes, there's a few left. Not a ton, but a few left. And the funniest thing is, I got a DM from a guy. He it's like his first cast on it. He's got like a 40-inch muskie.
Oh, and
Yeah.
he's probably losing his mind.
He said he was. He said I was fighting this fish and going, oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose this bait. And then he got the bait. He landed the muskie and got the bait back. And then the funniest thing is, he goes, like 10 casts later, I snagged a sandbag and I had to go in the water to get the bait.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, dude, that's when you buy 5 or 6. If you're going to fish them, you got to buy, a half a dozen.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Anything that I'm going to fish with, I buy at least a half a dozen, sometimes 9.
See, I'm 4. I'm a 4 guy.
I'm going to tell you about my 4 guy thing. So
Okay.
I was on Kerr Reservoir fishing
That sounded
bass.
a little odd, but go on.
Yeah. This is an equal opportunity show, man.
Sorry.
So yeah, thanks. So here's my.
Don't say it again.
I'm not
Just
gonna
keep going.
Here's my 4 lure problem.
Okay.
I'm on Kerr. It's a Bassmaster event. I am not catching fish on anything but a lavender shad Norman deep little end. I had 4 of them with me in my boat, and I had no backups in my truck. So I figured it's not going to matter because every tackle shop in that region carries Normans. And if I lose one, I will just go to the tackle shop and buy as many as they have. So I didn't worry about it. I go out and practice. I'm not catching anything. I pick up the crankbaits and immediately start catching fish in an area that I just went through doing all my other traditional stuff and not catching them. I'm now catching them on a lavender shad deep little end. I rifle a bomb cast out over this rocky point. I snag the bait up. I slide a plug knocker down there to get the bait, and the plug knocker tangled in the line and broke the line.
Now you got 3.
Now I'm down to 3. Tie on another one. I go through practice. No big deal. I'm getting a pattern. They're inside corners of points, rocky points. If there's wood on it, 10 times better. Now I'm feeling good. Almost the end of the practice day, the first day of practice, I snag a tree down there. I drop another plug knocker down. I'm shaking it. Boom, break the line. I'm like, oh my God,
Now you got
I'm down to 2. Get off the water, run to 2 tackle shops. None of them have them. Find a 3rd tackle shop. It's too far away, closed. I got to go the next day. Next day comes. I get off the water a little early. I'm down to 1. I go and they don't have any. So now I've driven as far as I could drive to find them, and nobody's got lavender shad. First day of the tournament comes around. I boat flip 2. I get them in the boat. I run to another point, launch a cast, break it off, and I have none. And you know how many bass I weighed in?
2.
2.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I said, after that, this is never, ever, ever going to happen to me again. And so what I do is I've got 4 of every crankbait in my boat. And then in my spare tackle, I've got 6 to 9 of every crankbait in my spare tackle. And then I'll pilfer out of the spare tackle to replace what I lose during the day. But that never happened to me again after that.
That's fair.
But yeah, so here's the crazy thing. So I went through my journals for the last 4 years. And
Personal or fishing?
Fishing. I don't keep personal journals.
I was just checking.
Yeah, fishing journals. And our lakes are just now starting to turn over. For the last 4 years, they have already by this time been stable, and fishing was off the chart. Like the fish pictures and stuff that I have for the end of September, beginning of October were just ludicrous big bags of bass. And fishing has been really weird here.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. It's kind of up and down, and lakes are turning. Some aren't turned yet. Some have. The shallower
some half turned and then decided not to turn.
Well, what happened was one of the lakes, the thermocline was distinct, solid. It was the best thermocline I've ever seen on 2D sonar and side imaging in my life. It was 22 to 24 feet. It flipped partially. There's a new thermocline in 30 feet. And so it was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen, because normally you guys got to understand something here. You know what? Let me just go into this, because this is all insanely relative. And Matt, interrupt me at any time. So real quick, because we've done a turnover show before. Everybody knows what it is. The lake stratifies. There's a warm water layer on top, cold water on the bottom. Thermocline is where the two meet, and there's no oxygen below the thermocline. We know that. As winter approaches, nights get cooler, blah, blah, blah. The top water layer gets colder. It becomes more dense. It sinks. Now the bottom layer comes to the top, okay? This redistributes everything. It redistributes nutrients, the debris, the decaying vegetation. And the problem is the bass get redistributed, because now what happens is during the turnover, the bass get funky, okay? They get really goofy. And they're basically, they're looking for better water qualities, and they get lethargic. They become inactive and blah, blah, blah. So indicators, visual indicators, water becomes murky, coffee colored. You see debris and organic matter floating around. If there's no wind, you can smell it. It's like a sulfury rotten egg smell. And the water temperatures are starting to become equal from top to bottom. Okay, that's what happens. So some of the visual things that we notice with the bass will be they're at various depths. They're not necessarily on any specific structure. There's a significant decrease in bite rates this time. And your usual places where you could go catch them, you're barely getting bites. The bites are non-aggressive. They're short strikes. They'll follow it. If you're fishing shallow and the lake is cleaner, you could see the bass follow it. If you're using live scope, even if you're just using it to structure fish, you'll see the bass following your bait, but totally non-committal. They'll just peel away randomly for no reason. They're lethargic. And that's the problem. And you'll notice too that now the bait fish could be anywhere and everywhere. They'll be on the surface, they'll be mid-column, they'll be on the bottom. Their plankton and the stuff that they're feeding on basically is everywhere, because the lake just went whoom and turned everything over. So there's particulate matter floating around. And everything. And basically what that does is it makes the lake, everything becomes unstable. All right. It's a very unstable environment, and it really disrupts everything. Think about it. The bass over the summer, you've got your definite layers, you've got your thermocline. The bait fish are not below the thermocline. In fact, a lot of them will be plastered right above the thermocline, which we talked about.
Yep, did a whole show on that.
When you smashed them in that one run pocket. And so the bass were used to this for months. Everything was perfect. They knew where they had to be. They knew where the bait was, the comfortable water temps, the most oxygen. They knew everything. Now it's completely everything. The O2 levels are inconsistent at this time of year. Even though everything is becoming oxygenated, it's still inconsistent because you'll have pockets of very low to no oxygen. It's random where it is. And we're going to get into this because we're going to get into all of this. And so anyway, the bass become disoriented, less aggressive. But here's the good news, okay? The turnover doesn't happen all over the lake at one time. So parts of a lake could be turning and other parts of the lake won't be, especially in the big reservoirs. Now, if it's a small 1,000-acre lake or 1,100-acre lake, it's probably all going to go off at one time. But the bigger reservoirs, it doesn't happen all at once, and certain sections flip before other sections do. So basically, it's like a puzzle, but there's a cheat code, and that's the coolest thing. And here, look, I didn't even realize we had this to our advantage. During the turnover, water clarity becomes a number one issue. So if we go to the deep dive app, that's not the pen, that's a marker. If we go to the deep dive app and I put on the water clarity, I can scroll through here and I can see where the dirty water is. If you notice in this pocket right here, I'm going to zoom in on it. This pocket right here, you've got dirty water in the beginning of it. Oh, I could, let me do that.
You can draw.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So if you notice, you'll have dirty water in the beginning of the pocket, and then you'll have dirty water in the end, and then this is your clear zone in here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that water clarity, you can use this to identify areas of better oxygen, better water quality, and probably parts of the lake that haven't turned yet. By looking at the water clarity, you could see in here, let me get rid of this and let me go to this. You could see in this region here that it's clean. So that's going to be stable. There's going to be more oxygen there and it's going to be stable. So the water clarity layer on the deep dive app can really help immensely during the turnover. You can also go in and check past history and actually see which areas are stabilizing that weren't stable prior. So there's a lot that this app does that's really pertinent.
Will they swim? So will fish that are currently in water that is off colored this time of the year, or if it's starting to turn over, will they migrate or move out of those areas into the areas that turn over the latest? Will the bait fish, will you notice more activity in those cleaner areas, or is it just that those fish in those areas are more active and willing to bite and those other fish just hunker down? That's what I'm saying. Like, will there be more fish in that clean area right now as of this photo that was from 2 days ago on this lake than there will be after it turns over? Like, is that congregating fish?
Yeah, because what happens is fish in the area, when the lake turns over and the oxygen level's not sufficient, or it's very random at best, the bass are constantly on the move. All right, which will lead us to our next issue, which is water movement oxygenates. So we're going to look for areas of current, and we're going to look for wind-driven areas. That's how the bass are going to go towards where the water's oxygenated. They're going to go into the current. All right. So let's do this. I'm going to take this app and I'm going to go water inflows. And so now I do the water inflow check here. And you can see that in our area that's clean, we've got several streams that are feeding this area. We have several streams feeding the area. Okay. And then if I zoom back out, you'll notice that in the back of the area, we have this one, feeding into the area. So the current is actually going this way. All right. So what that does is that tells you that the bass that are in this region of the lake are going to be migrating up into that current because they can feel the current movement, and then they're going to get into the zone with the clear water, and that's going to be your best bet. That's how you can utilize the deep dive app. Now there's another thing too, and that is wind. Wind makes current. So if I take the app and I go to my wind, my wind generated areas. Oops, I'm still drawing shit. I don't want to draw stuff. If I go to my wind generation, I can see all the places that the wind is directly hitting the bank. And these again are going to be high percentage areas. Here, all the places that the wind is hitting. And you'll see this is a neck down area in here. And so the current is going to be much stronger coming through here because it's a neck down versus if you go to the wide open section of the lake, the current's going to be there, but it's going to be much less.
Mm-hmm.
So you could use this app to check this stuff and it'll help you. And here, I didn't even realize this. Okay. I didn't even realize this, how good this app was for this time of year until I was monkeying around with it the other day, with some local lakes around the house. And so that's when I really got into it. And so you got to remember, the wind will relocate the bait fish, not because the wind blows them anywhere, but because that's where it's pushing the plankton and is what they feed on. Okay. And so the bait fish go where the wind goes. The good thing about the wind is that the wind reoxygenates and mixes up the water and gives it a better oxygen content. That's why during the turnover, windy banks are your best pal. All right.
Okay.
There's a huge overlooked puzzle piece during the turnover, and that's ultra shallow water. The shallow stabilizes first. It gets a huge influx of oxygen because it's the most affected by wind and current because it's super shallow. The deeper water takes forever to feel those effects. Shallow water, it's almost immediate.
So that's why it makes sense. That's why a chatterbait, a square bill, a spinnerbait, a buzzbait covering water in the fall looking for windy banks has been a stable pattern in the early going into late fall since the beginning of time. Will always be, and then you get offshore a little bit more once it kind of stabilizes. Correct. But you just explained why those are the most effective baits for covering ultra shallow water with wind current on it.
Right. And so here's the crazy thing. Okay, there was a lake here that I fished 2 years ago it was October. It was like the first week in October. The lake flipped. I didn't realize it at the time because I wasn't paying a lot of attention to it, to be honest with you. And it was a windy day. And the reality of it was I was actually, to be honest, going to film a video. And I blind chose the lake. I hadn't been on it all year. I blindly chose the lake. I was going to do a video, and it was a Norman Fat Boy video. And when I got there, the wind was not what they said it was going to be. It was banging. And I said, man, it's going to make filming a little tough. And I'm not sure what the bite's going to do. So I went to the windy bank because I knew that the bait fish would be plastered against the bank because the wind was there, and that would give me my highest percentage shot of square billing. The long and short of it is I absolutely throttled them. I throttled them. And it was one of the best square bill fishing days that I've had in a while. And we got done with the video, and I was going to fun fish the rest of the day out. And I got kind of sick and tired of being in the wind. So I I went to some protected areas. Goose egg, had to go back to the wind to get bit. And here's the funny thing. Most of the fish were coming on the rocky banks with blowdowns. And I had one giant grass flat that was super shallow. It was like 3 to 5 feet shallow, and the grass had died back a little bit, and so I can get a square bill over the top of the grass. And the fat boy comes through the grass really good, so it was relevant. And so I went to the flat, and the flat was completely windblown. In fact, I could barely keep the boat from blowing on the flat, which bothered me because I wanted to stay off the edge and cast up to the flat and bring it through to the grass edge. But the way the wind was blowing, I had to spot lock the nose out and cast over my transom. Well, after a couple of 5-pounders on this area, then the bell went off. And I went, oh my gosh, this lake turned over, and the water color was crap. Except for in the shallower areas, it was much cleaner. The rest of the lake looked like, coffee and cream almost. It was horrible. And so I never put the pieces back then when I was doing it. I never put it together until I started researching for today's show, going through all my old journals and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, what an imbecile. You know what I mean? It was so obvious. So had I hit the water and just went fishing and caught those fish, I would be like, yeah, it's a typical fall fishing day. You know what I mean? Square bill, chatterbait, spinnerbait, go down the bank, then crash on them. Mm-hmm. But the minute I did that anywhere the wind wasn't blowing, I couldn't get a bite. And so it had turned over, which was really sweet. The other thing that affects things during this turnover is falling or rising water. They can concentrate fish. Falling water can concentrate fish in super predictable places. When the lakes first start to drop, it's one of my favorite times to fish them because every point and finger that sticks out in the lake is a current break. And so the bass use it, and it's highly predictable. Rising water during the turnover is, they can go anywhere, do anything. It doesn't put them in predictable areas. Mm-hmm. And so
does rising water speed up the turnover? Okay, let me hit you with this, Frank. So we were looking at that deep dive app. So big tournament coming up on Grand in the beginning of November, the Toyota Series Championship. Grand is lake that historically gets I don't know if you can find it on there or not. Historically gets really tough the end of October, early November. If you hit it on the right week after everything is stable after the turnover, it can be absolutely phenomenal. If you hit it during that, like now for the next couple of weeks, can be brutally tough. Historically can be brutally tough. So let me know if you find it. It'd be like northeast Oklahoma there.
I'm in Mississippi.
So I pulled it up on my deep dive app, and I'm noticing, even up the Elk and the Neosho, fairly clear water, very clear down lake, even in the back. So to me, that tells me that it really hasn't flipped yet. So then I went to my weather app, and it's going to be in the 80s in Grand. We're at the end of October. It's going to be in the 80s. But Saturday, they're expecting 1.5 inches of rain in Grove. And then the low on Sunday is 48, and then it's going to blow 35 miles an hour on Monday, which brings in a cold front where the lows are, high 70, lows in the low 40s. So to me, that tells me that you're going to have all sorts of stuff happening on Grand in the next 6 days.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's do the wind effects. So here, I'll run through the wind effects on Grand, and
yep, keep going forward.
That's when it's really going to blow right there.
Yep, right there.
Look at that. That's a lot. That's a pile.
Yeah, but it's also blowing against the current.
Well, yeah, yes, it is, and that's going to slow the current down, down.
But you're also going to have, if you go to clarity, you can see how clear it is right now.
Yeah.
Okay, and then go to stream flow, which is 2 down from that. And then you can tell right now there's like nothing, not that much going into. Can you do either the water inflows or the stream flows predicted? I believe you can do stream flows predicted. Go up to that top end there of where the Neosho and the Elk come in. There you go. Now see if they might not have it. Okay, then click on one of those stream flows for like Sunday or Monday. See how there's like a little arrow?
Yeah, I'm on Sunday. So
okay, here, when is all this water coming in? So Saturday, so Sunday.
Oh yeah, so there's the chart. There's the CFS chart right there.
So they've dropped it to winter pool. The turnover hasn't happened yet. And then a lot of water is going to be coming into the fishery, followed by massive wind and a cold front.
Yeah, let's do
Okay,
that.
there it is. See the green in the back? See that green one on the corner right there that's moving? That's Saturday. Yeah, see all those that are coming in? All that's going to be coming in with all that rain. Now click on where the arrows are in the back right there. And it should tell you how much that's how much is expected to be coming in on the 19th like that.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's 742 CFS. That's cubic feet per second.
So you can tell how much is going through the system that right now, if you go back to what it is right now, exceptionally stable. Even though they just
it's going to change dramatically.
Yeah.
I mean, right now that backstream's pumping pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But this one's going to be the brutal one later.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to double pump. It drops and then it's going to rise again.
And that's just on that stream. There's another one up there too. There's multiple that are going to be pumping in.
Right.
With the wind blowing against it.
Yeah, here's the other big one coming in. Yeah, see now that one's not going to have as much water coming in on the 19th as the other ones.
And that arm typically stays cleaner.
Yeah, it's not going to have as much. It's got water moving now.
I'm just saying, I think this is a good example of, you talked about the wind, the dropping water with going to winter pool, the rising water with it coming in, and the current clarity right now on a rock bait fish driven fishery with no grass on it.
Oh yeah. I mean, so the reality of it is, let me go back. I like this.
Yeah, that's what I said. This has a bunch of different.
So let's go. So here's the good news. Okay. Well, first of all, turnover conditions. You got to remember this stuff constantly changing. It's changing by the day. All right. Sometimes it changes by the hour. Like when the rain comes on Grand Lake, it's literally going to be different in the morning than it is in the afternoon. And so by having the app in your pocket, you could find where the water's getting blown out and stay in front of it, or you could find creeks that are getting flow but clean flow, because there's a difference. And so you can monitor these conditions throughout the day. You could review overnight. You could review and see what the wind's going to do, and have potential spots already located to run and fish during the day, where you're not having to run down the lake and physically go look at them. You could do it over the app before you even leave the hotel room. You could check clearly. We just talked about current and water clarity. You can note lake level changes, and you have to preview 7-day forecasts. Every lake I go to, I look days, a week before and a week after, because I want to see what's going on during, before, during, and after, because that's going to tell you an awful lot. The cool thing about the turnover is it won't last forever. 2 to 3 weeks in most cases.
Mm-hmm. Current
expedites it, because the more current that flows through the system, the more it mixes the water. Everything becomes oxygenated. It makes everything stabilize quicker. And small lakes respond even faster. Smaller, shallower lakes respond even quicker. So if you're having issues fishing the turnover, you have options. You can pick smaller lakes or you can pick river systems. River systems are super predictable no matter what. And very, I don't want to say not affected by a turnover, but almost not affected by a turnover. I used to fish rivers a lot during the turnover because it was stable fishing, water's dropping, bass are getting active, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you know the drill. Things will get back to normal, and when they do, traditional fall patterns will skyrocket again. The bait fish will start schooling, become super predictable. You'll get topwater bites because of the schooling fish. Live scope will be important that time of year because the bass will be on the bait, and the thing is they can be at any depth level now because you have constant oxygen from top to bottom. And then the bass will start to relate to their typical structure habits again, and you'll start to catch them on your typical deeper fall structure places. That's the best I can do about the turnover. Now here's something really interesting. I got a message from the Deep Dive app, and Brandon Jenkins did a whole report on mastering the fall turnover. It's very well worth the read. It's very well done. It's in super chronological order, and he goes through exactly how to use this app to help you stay away from the turned over parts of the lake. That was part of the research that I had done on this. That and my own experience, clearly, very good. What I didn't realize was that they have how-to and instructional articles on Deep Dive. And I started reading them just because I read that one, and I'm like, that's very, very well done. So let me go through and see some of the other stuff that they've done in the past. They do a bang-up job on their articles. I just want to let you guys know that.
Yeah, these are actually available on the Deep Dive app. And here, the summer to fall, how to spot the first hints of the transition.
Right. I mean, it's
different things that are on the actual Deep Dive app that you can get on there and look at, and that's just on the PC version too.
Yeah, I mean it was very good to see that. I really enjoyed that a lot because a lot of what I do, like I said, I don't talk about anything that I don't experience myself. I can't talk about what somebody else did. You know what I mean? I can only
I got you.
What I learned. Go ahead.
No, I think that's great. I mean, it's not an exact science, but it's more of an exact science the more information that you can apply to it. That's basically what it is. You're not just guessing now. You can actually have a loose understanding of it. Now you're making micro adjustments in your 8 hours of fishing, and it's taking you 2 hours to get in the right zone and then another hour to get dialed in instead of 8 hours to find the right zone, and then it's time to go back to work on Monday.
Right, 100%. I mean, that's what it is. And basically, the more information and the more variables you control, the better your fishing day is going to be. But yeah,
let's bring our special guest in for the day.
Yeah, pull him in.
Frankie, what's up?
What's up, Banger? What's up, Dad?
What's going on?
Nothing. Just enjoyed another educational show by you.
Yeah. I think, was it a couple weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weeks ago when we were live, announced a St. Jude fundraiser tournament up in Ohio. And I think that's rapidly approaching, is it not?
Yeah, it's very quick. It's the week after your wedding. November 1st at Portage Lakes, new state park ramp. Blast offs at 8:30, check-ins at 7 a.m. It's going to be a good time. I think we're a little behind here in Ohio, and this tournament's setting up to be a real slugfest.
Really, largemouth mainly, all largemouth.
Yeah, it's there are smallmouth, I guess. Some guys catch one or two every once in a blue moon, but it's always one with largemouth.
I gotcha. And entry fee, and then how much of the proceeds go to St. Jude? How does that raise money? And then what's first place?
Yeah, so we're doing a 200 boat or a $200 team tournament. I wish it was 200 boats. That'd be pretty sweet. 100 goes to the tournament, 100 goes to St. Jude, and depending on how many boats we get, let me pull up this little spreadsheet I got here for payout.
Oh, I think Deep Dive app has a payout feature on it.
Oh, does it really?
No.
Well, that'd be pretty sweet. If we can get 30 boats, I'll pay 5 places. It'll be $900 for the winning team, $750, $600, $450, $300.
Nice. And then 50% payback with the other 50% going to St. Jude.
That's right.
For the team of Frank Scalish Jr. and Jarrett Juice Morrison.
Juice.
Yep.
So, all right. If people want information on that, they can access you on Instagram or is there a website?
Facebook. The flyer I put out has a phone number on it. You can get a hold of me at. You can text me anytime.
Scalish_Jr.
Yep. On Instagram, and then just Frank Scalish Jr. on Facebook.
All right.
Super stoked, man. It's gonna be fun. I've never ran a tournament, so it's kind of fun. I've got some giveaways too, by the way. I've got some LureNet gift cards. I've got some Fisherman Central gift cards, Fin Fern Feather gift cards, I think. And then Buzzer Rocks came through huge. Everybody who enters this is going to get a Buzzer Rock tournament pack and their blood clot spray. So
nice.
I'm a huge fan of that product. So I really appreciate them sending it to me. I'm not sponsored by them, so this was a really nice thing that they did. And from Nick Mayer Ford in Mayfield, we're going to give away a free tire rotation, oil change, and a truck detail as well.
You need that, Frank.
Yeah, I do need that.
Yeah. Well, come on in, Pop Center.
Yeah.
So we got some giveaways. It'll be fun. I'm talking to some other companies and people still. So we might even have some more giveaways. So.
Drunkwood said, Frank and I are doing a Men of BTL calendar to raise some money for St. Jude. Wait until you see the December spread.
Oh, man, that's funny.
Oh my God, that is good.
Oh yeah.
You know what we forgot to do? We forgot to do a gift card today, Matt.
Oh yeah, we're giving away a gift card. I actually starred a question or a comment that tickled my fancy from one of our regulars on the show. I think we just give it to him. You good?
Yeah. You can't say the comment out loud.
No, I can. This was back when we were talking about how you had journaled for 4 years. And you took it as like a serious question. I said personal or fishing, and you said fishing journal. And Sam Axe said, Dear Journal, today my net man dropped the ball big time, but I kept the anger bottled up inside.
Oh, Sam, I guess you just won a $50 gift card.
Yeah. Email Matt, MATT at basszone.com, and we'll just send you the code.
It'll be a number. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a number that you can apply at LureNet for the $50. So I appreciated that. I had that start.
Yeah, dude, it's really healthy to push that anger way down and keep it all bottled up. It's really a healthy thing.
Yeah, put it in that little box.
Yeah, the day my net man dropped the ball big time, but I kept the anger bottled up inside. I can always tell when I have something bottled up inside on the water, because then something will happen that should not trigger me, but it does. Like a pleasure boat will go by at just like a fast idle 100 yards, like doing exactly what they should in the channel or whatever, and I'll just look at them and be like, F that boat.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And it's not. They have done nothing wrong. They're a safe distance. They're practicing good boating. But it was something that maybe 3 or 4 hours ago that I'd just been stewing on, and then like the boat goes like that, and like I lose a little, and I just boom. They're the focus of the ire.
Well, yeah, and the problem is, dude, if you're angry when you're fishing, you don't focus on what you need to focus on, and you don't catch them. And
the other thing is, like, if something, if I'm bottling it up inside, and then like, let's have fishing with juice or something like that, like little things will bother me. Like he'll shift his weight from one side of the boat to the other, and I'll just Yeah, and he's done nothing wrong. He's just literally like just shifting, and I'll be like, "How am I supposed to live scope when you're back there doing the tango on the back deck?"
Yeah, 100%.
And he's like, "Whoa, whoa!" Like, I didn't.
Yeah.
But it's, way before that.
He's like, he's like, "Whoa, Matt, this is supposed to be enjoyable, bro."
Yeah.
He did that when we were fishing the Jude last year. He just went from one side to the other, and like, I kind of did a little half step, like, oh, I didn't expect that.
He's for a normal sized guy, he's got a heavy foot on the front deck. I will say that.
Yeah, well, he's not a giant guy.
No, he takes care of himself.
He's like a cat, man. He's light on his feet.
No, but except in the boat, he's like he wears lead shoes. I mean, it's like you can have. I got the most stable boat on the market. The thing will just go like this when he's on the front deck, and I'm like, what? Wait, what are we shifting on here? Like, what's the shift? What's the reason for the shift?
Yeah, well, now I know how aggravated you must get with me bouncing around.
No, not at all.
Because I'm always trying to check the screen out when you're up there. And when
I'm a screen hulker. I hulk over the screen.
Right. So when you stand directly in front of it, I have to get to the side so I could see it. And it's not that I want to cast on the fish you're fishing for.
Yeah.
It's I want to see what's going on.
This year when you come up for CTL, you need to remind me, and we'll do the angled screen. So, with the beat down, I can angle it.
Oh, we're good, dude.
And then I only have one this year, so we don't have anywhere to put our ice cold Coca-Colas.
Yeah, we'll find a place. All
right. Thanks for jumping on, Frankie. That is a great tournament to raise money for St. Jude. If you're in the area, if you want to jump in, support St. Jude, win some money, catch some big largemouth. And one more time, where it's at and when it is.
It's November 1st, Portage Lakes, new state ramp, and we'll check in at 7, blast offs at 8:30. It'll be an 8-hour tournament. Grab your team partner and let's roll, man. $200, you're good to go.
There you go.
It should be good. I mean, fishing will be good on that lake then. It usually gets red hot around then, so you don't want to miss that one.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, Frankie.
All right, thanks, guys.
See ya.
Peace, buddy. See ya.
That's a cool thing that he's doing. I don't think he knows what he's in for as a tournament director, even in a charity event.
Yeah,
that is the most thankless job on earth.
It is. You're never the hero. You're always working. You're always got to make sure everything is going. And I would
love to find a former high-level tournament director with nothing to lose, like no ties to the organization anymore, doesn't fish anymore, no paycheck not attached to
and
it, no
ask questions,
no gag orders or no clauses or whatever, and just do a podcast with them where he's like, all right, let me tell you about this time.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Cause you'll hear through the grapevine, like, there were 3 protests at the Open last week. And you'll be like, wait, what? No, I didn't. And then you'd be like, wait till you hear about this one. But rightfully so. I think there's some locker room stuff that doesn't need to get out. And if it's handled correctly, that's why you have the protest and the appeal and the people and the tournament director that looks at it all. More often than not, it's usually a misunderstanding or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But there are a lot of things that have never gotten to the light of day where you're like, he did what?
Oh yeah. 100%. I actually think that's a good thing. I don't think everybody should, with today's social media and how available everything is. I think half the problem is people air dirty laundry, and a lot of people do them out of vengeance or spite. And, I think it's damaging and can be easily taken out of context. So you got to be really responsible with today's media. You have to be really responsible on how and what you say. And I think there's a lot of carelessness out there today because once you type something out, you're not face to face with anybody. So there's no ramifications for what you're doing.
Yeah. But I also say 99% of guys want to go follow the rules, have a good time,
test
their mettle against it, can take a ass kicking like a grown man, shake the hand of the guy who won, look him in the eye and know, hey, you were better than me today. Get in the truck and even though you're disappointed, you got to spend time with your buddy. In this case, you donated to a great cause. You're outside, you're burning calories, you're participating in something that you love with one of your buddies. I mean, it still is the team, the team tournament experience, especially at that $100-$300 level with your buddy close to home, where you'll be home that night, to me is one of the best, if not the best, afternoons, days, or 2 days that you can spend. Like, there's just so much upside to it. It's just so good for even if you get your butt kicked, and it's that, the recency bias where I can't tell you how many times I've gone, why am I fishing? Why do I fish that team show? I got no chance. And then, you bust a sack and Juice, my fish comes off and Juice nets it at the side of the boat as it comes off, and we're high-fiving, and then he's like, I got one, and I'm like, don't lose it, and he nets it, and then he's like, I don't know which one to call, and then you get in the truck and you just start laughing like you're 15 years old again, and it's just such a dopamine and adrenaline spike. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, team tournaments are great. I fished a ton of them when I was coming up the pipe. Some of the most fun times ever fishing. There's just something about it. You're not against the guy in the boat with you, and it's just a whole different atmosphere. You know what I mean? You're like, tie this on. You got to tie this one on. You know what I mean? It's a whole different atmosphere. You're not worried about pulling up on something and going, I got to have one shot, and then my non-boater's going to take a shot at it. So I got to make it perfect. I got to catch that fish. And, you know what I mean? It's like you pull up to the place and you're like, Troy, take the shot.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I got it. You know what I mean?
The other thing I love is if it's your boat, you're kind of running you have a game plan, right? But I love the team tournament aspect where once your game plan is just completely obliterated and it's clearly obvious that you had a structurally unsound tournament plan at 11, you can just turn to the guy next to you and go, your show, bud. And your hands are clean for the rest of the day then.
Yeah, exactly. There's something about the team tournaments that are just, they're so much more relaxed. It's not, you're just not, you're fired up and you're pumped because it's your team against their teams. The individual stuff like the Bassmasters and the high end tournament trails out there, every cast freaking matters. It matters, and you have to make that cast. You have to catch that fish. And when your non-boater catches one, that's because you missed something or did something wrong. And that affects you because I analyze, like if I'm fishing and my non-boater catches one, the first thing especially if we're crankbait fishing, I'm like, how fast is your reel speed? I ask
where's your rod tip? What size line are you using?
Right.
What color is it? Was that on a pause or the reel? Were you touching 100%. The bottom?
Yeah, exactly.
Where was the fish hooked? Was it the back treble or the front treble? How close did you change the angle?
Right. And to the point where they're like, what do you work for the paper?
Yeah. Why don't you just leave that part out and call it a mystery?
Yeah. 100%. So remember the new Signature Series collections are out now, one a month from now till July. And pumpkin spice is available right now. Boom.
Yeah, and it's still available. And if you show up to Frank Scalish Jr.'s benefit tournament in a fisherman jet ski, he will.
You're automatically going to win something.
You'll be entered into a jet ski side pot.
Dude, this year I have seen the most tricked out fishing jet skis on Lake Erie that I have ever seen in my life.
They're getting like the kayaks.
Yeah, they're getting goofy, dude. Like this one guy had 6 rod holders, 2 locators, planer boards, and I'm like, what? You know what I mean? It's like the amount of money that he sunk into a jet ski, he could have bought a freaking boat.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're looking like now. The Sea-Doo Fish Pro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I just would have a tough time being out there bringing tuna or whatever the hell you're catching out there up to the side with your leg right there after. I mean, like, it seems like if you watch any of the saltwater stuff, they have massive sharking issues right now.
Yeah,
like major overabundance of sharks. And you're literally bringing the bait to within a foot of your meaty leg that is 6 inches above the water. Like, I think I would be side saddling every fish.
Yeah, dude, it's like it's like you're bringing everything in the food chain that you don't want
directly to your calf, to your meaty calf that is just inches above the water.
Oh yeah, there's a lot that could go wrong. I mean, there's a lot that could go wrong. I don't like it.
We should have I feel like there needs to be a tournament trail where the guy who finishes last has to do a lap driving a jet ski while the other tournament competitors point and laugh at him after the day. So, like, if you have, like, a club of, like, 12 guys and you go out, right? Kind of like a fantasy fishing, they do a punishment for finishing last.
Yeah.
The guy who finishes last every Saturday, the tournament director, drives a jet ski, and he has to do a hot lap around the lake while all the other anglers point, laugh, and take pictures of him. So not only are you trying to win, you're trying to not finish last.
Right, you cannot.
I think that would be an interesting
last.
That would be an interesting
the guy
element.
that finishes last has to trailer everybody else's boat.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, we're going to change things up a little bit. So the next day 4, we're going to keep it live because next week is wedding week. You and Frankie will both be at the wedding.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're going to be headed down. That whole thing kind of kicks off it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday deal. So no shows Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but we're going to do a live show Monday, 8:30 a.m. Central Time.
Yeah.
So it's a live day 4 on a Monday. We've done that occasionally just to keep things. And we're also going to record a show. So the following week, while I'm on the honeymoon, there will be a recorded day 4 out as well.
Yeah. And you don't want to miss the recorded day 4, by the by.
Yeah. And then we're not that far away. By the time that is, we're talking November. We're talking prime, cold weather, cold water season. Yeah. And then I'm going to be seeing you a lot this year because then we're going to get some dates for you to come down and catch some giants. Jody White is coming down after the Toyota Championship in November, and we're going to go try to catch a 40 rack in Oklahoma.
Nice.
Hopefully it'll be cold enough by then. Like I said, the beautiful thing is that I can kind of give you a week or two notice and be like, hey, it's looking like it's going to be right. You've gotten lucky when you've come down before. We've hit it for the big crappie right. This year I'd like to try to mix in a full day of, like, I want to get
big bass. And
here's the difference with this year. We're recording the crappie stuff. We're turning it into a crappie talk live episodes. So then Frank will be back. We'll have that in there. We'll actually do a breakdown of what we're using, how we're doing it, why the crappie are doing what they're doing, where they're doing it, that type of thing. So it'll, instead of just be a look how big of slabs we caught, it'll be a little bit more educational. So
yeah, I love that, dude. Since the first episode of crappie fishing with you, I have turned my crappie game up 150%. I could literally, and I believe this, anytime I want to go catch them, I go catch them.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. In fact, I designed some baits that I can't talk about, unfortunately, but I designed some baits for GLF and for Bobby Garland. And
I like it.
Yeah.
I think that is the new horizon, is a little bit of a hybrid trend where we're realizing that there are some bass world elements that are drastically underutilized in the crappie world. And I think a lot of the people are going to be shocked when they say,
how similar.
My God, you're catching crappie on a 6-inch bait?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah, no problem. My God, you're using 20-pound test in a bait caster to target crappie in 39-degree water?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. The one thing I did learn, like the one day we went out, we were literally catching them inches under the surface.
In 39-degree water.
Yeah, inches under the surface.
Over 30 foot of water.
And the lakes where I live are way cleaner than that. And they're never inches below the surface. This year, and because of it, this year I was out and I was, I went to all my deep stumps and my channel ledges and stuff where the crappie are normally hanging out. And there was a few down there, and I caught a few down there, and I was seeing fish right at the surface, and I was completely 100% writing it off. I'm like, there's no effing way.
Yeah.
I can see down 3 feet. They are not that close to the surface. There's no way.
Yeah, they are.
And I ignored it. And half the day went by, and I went to another area, and I'm like, I'm seeing this way too many places. And there's not enough fish down below. They got to be crappie. And so I clicked the angle up on my transducer, and I fire a cast out, and I can see my lure splash on top of the water, and boom, I'm loaded up, and it's 1.5 pound crappie. And I went, uh-oh. And I went back through and just waylaid on them. It was so much fun.
Best we can tell, they're literally sunning.
Yeah.
They're actually sunning.
And here's the cool thing, okay?
I've caught them with their backs out. I've caught a crappie in 39-degree water in zero visibility, where when it bit, you could literally see the back of the fish breaching the surface of the water.
That's money.
Like a top water crappie bite in 39-degree water.
Dude, my favorite thing about one crappie time you and I were fishing, the one you lost twice and then landed him the third time. Like, I don't mean lost him like, oh, I got him and he came off. I mean, like, boat flipped him in the air and the fish came off.
Yeah, they're like honey badgers. They don't care.
They don't care. Swam back down. Matt gets him again, goes to boat flip him. It comes off. And the third time we got him.
It's a 2.5 pound crappie. It's not like a little one on a 16-foot rod. I've changed that. I was still using braid at the time, and we'll go into all this stuff.
Yeah.
I've since switched to fluorocarbon for a little bit more shock, and then also a lot easier to get it on the fish on the drop.
Yeah, I put fluoro on 2 of mine. I'm going fluoro on all of them, I think.
Yeah.
I might keep one. I might keep one braid.
I do like the braid, like a little bit deeper braid, especially if you're using it smaller and you want to kind of plummet it down. I think I've decided on a braid fluoro combo.
Mm-hmm.
To get it down to it, and then the bait swings down. But anywhere from a 64th ounce jig up to a 1/2 ounce jig.
Yeah, it's a mind boggling. It's mind boggling. I love it actually.
Yeah.
Too much probably.
No, I'm looking forward to it. But like I said, I also want to try to get you on a mega sack of largies.
Yeah, it won't hurt my feelings.
When was the last time you caught an 8-pound largemouth? Like certified scaled 8.
Oh, quite a while ago. Actually, I caught 2 of them in a Bassmaster event.
Oh, it's been since then. You haven't caught one since then?
No, 8? I've got not a true 8. I've got heavy 6s and low 7s, but I've not gotten a true 8.
Yeah, we got a couple ponds that we need to get you on.
Yeah.
I would love to see how excited you get your hands on an 8 to 11.
Oh, yeah.
All right, this has been another edition of Day 4 with Frank Scalish. We'll talk to everybody on Monday. Later.